Hello guys, welcome back to Punisher's Paintball here. We are going to be talking about a very near and dear marker to my heart versus the 180R from Planet Eclipse. This is going to be the Shocker Amp versus the Planet Eclipse 180R. I'm excited personally to do this comparison. For me, I think this is going to be a really tight one because I do like both markers quite a bit. I'm wondering what Joel's going to pull out of the bag for this one. But hope you guys enjoy this video. Please like, make sure you subscribe to the channel here. When you're done watching, you can go ahead and leave us a comment and use the link in the description when you've decided which one of these amazing markers you would buy from Punisher's Paintball. I'm so free. All right, Joel. So I already know that the amp is going to win, but we can still run through this and do
Listen,
the
fair precursor to this is that Doug has already made up his mind because Doug is a big Shocker guy. Yeah. If anybody that's watching the channel has watched more than one of our videos,
I would say you've watched maybe 3 videos and you figure out very quickly where my allegiances lie.
We're here to talk about packaging. I'm tossing all the cardboard that's going to get wasted anyways. That is true. You do not get any of that stuff.
And Joel, guess what? Your favorite point to make with half these markers. Oh, the case doesn't have a carry handle.
It has a carry handle. Boom. There it is.
However, this nice carbon material on the outside, while it is sweet, does pale in comparison to the nice hard aluminum and cool heather design on the Planet Eclipse cases they're offering now. So right off the bat,
it doesn't dent though.
It does. No, it really. These do hold their shape very well. Yeah. I have 2 of them myself. Haven't had issues with them at all. Yep. But as we crack into it here, you'll see that both do have a divider, as Joel opens his up, but there is one massive difference between the quality of the dividers. Ooh, you'll love to hear that snap. But yeah, so that's going to be one big thing is when you... I can't get through a video seriously.
No,
but when you do open this, there is going to be some flopping back and forth between if you want to grab your guns or grab your barrels or whatever. So I will fully admit that is one huge disadvantage. We do have a startup manual here in the Shocker Amp camp over here. It's got a couple pages to it. It is colored, which is nice. It does break down your bolt and O-rings and whatnot, but we'll get into why that might not be the most helpful thing later. It has a nice branded barrel stock, which I love. And then everything else that you're going to need is going to be right here. So you have your parts kit here. I'll slide that out just ever so slightly so you can see it. So it comes in a little tackle box kind of deal. Joel is not a fan of the fact that it's not really labeled. It's just kind of is what it is.
Big issue.
You just get O-rings and they're all different kinds of densities.
Big issue. All right, big issue real quick, and here's why. Because the Shocker and the DLX Lux TM40 and all their previous, they use different durometers, meaning different thicknesses on their O-rings.
I was getting there, man. I was just saying that.
Oh, so whereas like with Planet and Dye and everything, there's no differences.
What you see, what you get.
Yeah, so if it's a 13, it's a 13 O-ring. If it's a 14 size O-ring, it's a 14 size O-ring. With the Shocker and the Lux TM40, there's different like thicknesses and all that stuff, so you have to know what thickness you're looking at and all that stuff, and none of that stuff is labeled there. So that parts kit is basically useless.
I will totally
even for somebody that knows knows it well like I do.
I will entirely submit that helps literally no one. The thing that I just really like though is just how it's organized. I actually like the tackle box thing. Yeah. I just wish all you have to do is just label each box. That's all you got to do.
Yep.
It's a very simple fix. That would help them out a lot. I do like the way it comes though. You get plenty of stuff. You're certainly no shortage of parts and pieces. I'll shove this back in here.
Yep.
Then over here you get your wrenches, and you do get I think it was about an ounce of lube.
Yeah.
I think so, roughly. So this is Dow 33, same as you'll get with your 180R. But then you flip into here. Here's your section for the marker itself, and this is probably for like an extra trigger or something if you have a backup trigger that you want.
Batteries, all that
stuff like that. Very simple casing though, guys. Doesn't hold a whole heck of a lot, and you'll see there's only 2 barrel slots, so really you can fit your barrel tip and your barrel back with 1 insert in it, and that's going to be about it. So huge drawbacks to this packaging here.
Well, what I have seen though is people put their barrel in like this, and then we'll put like an extra insert
like right in between
on top.
Yeah, I've seen that too. I will say though, I actually really like the wrench kit that you get with the DLX kit. It's like complete. It's nice. Very complete. Yeah, so and we offer them here at Punishers for what, $5?
Yeah, they're not expensive. They're like, I want to say they retail for like $5 or something.
So like that. Get your replacement kits here. Anyway, the Planet Eclipse 180R packaging. Joel, take it away.
It's so on this side you're going to get your Allen keys for anything that you need to service on the marker. You don't get anything extra like you do with the Shocker. And then your actual marker there, you've got the full color manual, so that is a 1-up. Compared to the shocker, you've got your labeled parts kit, which is always very nice. And then, you've got a bunch of different sleeves here to put your S63 inserts. So in total, there is a total of 6 spots, so you can put 5 inserts, which is, I think, more than is even offered.
I think that's the max. I think the max they offer is 5.
Is it 5?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
It's 4. It's 4 or 5, but needless to say, you can fit a full barrel system in here without having to put in an unnecessary spot. There's designated spot for it, which for me, I like to be organized, so that is definitely nice for me. All right, which one do you
likes
pick?
to be organized, but you should watch the beer bag video that's up there and see what a mess it actually looks like.
I'm a busy guy.
He's the boss. He's running a whole shebang here. I will submit, though, the point should go to Planet Eclipse for that one for packaging. The shocker packaging is nice, but Planet Eclipse honestly just does it better. Barrel, I am gonna go with the Freak system. I like the porting more. There's simply just more porting. There's also almost double the amount of barrel insert sizes that you can get. These are both insert-based barrels, which is cool. That makes them a very nice direct comparison. But for the fact that I can get 8 sizes with a Freak kit versus a maximum of 4 to 5 with that, for me, I think that's kind of a no-brainer. I will add though that this is going to be another true 14, I believe, whereas that barrel is going to be 14 and a half. And also, I'm going to make this point. Can you pull out that insert one more time? The insert for the Planet Eclipse is going to be longer. So put that bad boy up. It is.
Well, there you go.
So your control bore will be longer. So if that's more of a selling point to you than having more sizes available to get that closer bore match, then by all means, that is your choice. But I am still going to give it to the shocker for the barrel. What about you, Joel?
I am too, for 2 different reasons. I like the porting more.
Yep.
And here's my issue. This is a copy.
Yeah.
And I'm sick and tired of the industry copying shit.
Did it first.
Been around forever.
Over a decade, almost 20 years.
And this is like a screaming copy of it just is. I mean
I don't disagree. I
do a lot of business with both companies, but I just wish come up with something unique, right? It's a barrel. In my opinion, I'm going to use the barrel that most any gun comes with. I'm going to use that barrel.
Yep.
But for me, that's kind of my main thing is I like the finesse of this barrel system. It's a little bit thinner.
Yep.
I like the slots. I like the way it points. I like the slots, and I like the porting more. The slots meaning where you can see what barrel insert. Whereas this, there's no porting here, so you actually have to take the barrel off to figure out which insert you've got in it.
Right.
So, all right. So barrel, both
shocker
to the shocker. Feed neck.
So they're both pretty low profile. Yeah, right. They're both pretty low profile. They both have a nice clamp on the side, and they both have a thumb wheel. So if we're going to get into the minutia of it, I do think the feed neck is smaller on the amp, but the actual thumb wheel on the 180R is bigger and easier to grab onto.
Yeah.
So I could understand calling that a wash, honestly, because they both do the same thing functionally. Actually, no. I'm going to give a slight one up to the amp because I've had this happen where because it's small, right? Can't quite get in there, whatever. But I've even had it happen on Planet guns where it's I get it tight enough, maybe roughly, but sometimes I actually can just take an Allen key, put it in there, and get that fine-tuned just tight enough. So you kind of get the best of both worlds, which I do like about this, and I'll give the overall just it's smaller, so I kind of like it more.
I'm going to give it to the 180 because I feel that this thumb wheel is a little bit smoother like that. Thumb wheel on the amp can be a little bit difficult to turn.
Yep, I would agree.
So for that reason, the parts on that is smaller because I've taken both of these apart. And one other very small, minute thing is that the way that this is designed, there is an O-ring on the end of this. So if you unscrew it all the way, if you take it and you unscrew it all the way, it has a stop method.
Oh, so it won't just come out.
So it won't just come out.
This has gotten lost before. People have had to get a new clamp and all that.
So for that reason, I'm going to choose the 180.
That's fair enough. That is actually fair enough. So I will submit to that. I will submit that is the better quality feed neck, but functionally it does the same thing.
It's just more user friendly in my opinion.
That's fine. Eyes.
So this uses an interesting system.
Yeah, it's got
because it's got that hinge frame on it. And the upper board talks to the lower board, so there's no cords in between, and we'll get more into that when we talk about upgradability. But it does use I cables, and you have to use an Allen key.
That's my big thing is really just the toollessness of the 180R over this. I will give the I point to the 180.
Just give it to him, dog.
Just for that.
Yeah,
it's just so much easier to get to.
Yeah, so still need tools on that. Whereas this uses a reflective system. There's a portion on the board that is attached to the trigger frame that reflects off the eye cover here. So if you ever chop paint, you just take this eye cover off, wipe it down, and you are good to go. No need for cables or anything else like that. Very simple to just pop that into place, and it falls right into place every time. I like that system a lot more than eye cables, because eye cables, it's like you're constantly trying to keep it in the right place while you're putting your eye cover on, and like I hate that with the LD2. I hate it with that. I hate it with, there's quite a few guns like the Go4, same thing. Whereas like with the reflective system, I like that system a lot.
2 years ago, right before MSXL Indy, I busted the eye wires on my XLS. So
there you go.
It's
all right. So eyes, I'm choosing the 180.
Yeah, I would also choose the 180.
Battery changing.
180. It's toolless.
Yeah.
This you have to get rid of 3 Allen screws before you can get into it. They both use a 9-volt, which is cool, but it's not toolless.
Your 9-volt is right there on the 180. Okay, trigger.
That's going to be amp for me.
Same here.
As much as it doesn't always feel the greatest out of the box, neither does that one, but the shape of this trigger is much friendlier to just like really being able to rip that thing. And honestly, Joel fixed my trigger on my amp within, I don't know, 3 minutes, and it's been great to me ever since. Plus, did you touch this one by any chance?
No.
This one out of the box I actually really don't hate. I think they've like started to catch on.
Yeah.
Because that's really not bad.
Maybe they're watching our videos.
Hey, maybe they have. Craig, I'm watching you. But yeah, no, I'm going to give the trigger to the Shocker amp. It's a better, more natural shapes. I prefer S-shaped triggers. I don't like deuce, but the scythe triggers can be kind of and whatever that is, not a fan of. So S trigger, good for me.
One of my favorite triggers of all time is the Shocker amp trigger. It's like you can adjust the way that I try and adjust all these triggers. Very simple to adjust it, and overall like very good return and everything else like that. The trigger is full metal. It's like it's not a dust finish, it's a polish finish, so it feels smoother. And it's rounded.
I was just going to say, the thing that I hear you talk about all the time, you love a rounded edge trigger.
I do. This is not. The 180R is flat, so like it's just like big. Like there's a lot of surface area, and I just don't think it's necessary.
Nope.
So for that reason, I'm going to give it to the Shocker. Now I will say this though. There's a screw right here. This comes out, and the trigger face, if you want to change your trigger, the trigger face comes off, meaning that all of your adjustments stay the same if you take a different trigger and put a different trigger shoe on. The majority of the actual trigger assembly is behind it and attaches to it, meaning all the set screws are on that trigger assembly thing, and the trigger shoe just attaches to it, so it keeps everything. So that is nice when you're trying to change out to like a deuce trigger or something. But I'm still picking the Shocker.
I am too. Next would be board and programming. I picked Shocker because it's extremely simple and easy to catch on. No one had to teach me how to do it. I had to be taught how to do the PE guns. I do like the PE guns now that I've been taught how to do it, but I would never have known. And even then, this is different too. Like, because I only learned how to do it on like the LV2 and the Go4 and like where you have the kind of that more full display. I still don't understand it on the 180R just yet. You said it is improved though, right? They really made it better over the 170.
I wouldn't say it's better. It's just more similar to their the way that their high-end markers function. Okay. So you turn the gun on, you turn the gun off. When you turn the gun off, now on this with the 170, you just hold it and it turned off. With this, you hold it and it'll ask you to turn off, and you have to click the button again. Okay. Or you can use your trigger and start cycling through all your different modes. Okay. So that you hold the trigger, turn the gun on, and you're in programming. You turn the gun on, go to turn the gun off, and then you can cycle through the modes. So very, very simplistic here. I think that there's more parameters on the 180 board, but for a board perspective, I'm going to choose the 180 because I like the more parameters and everything else like that.
From there, because even on the shocker, you can only program it up to like 15 balls per second. You can't get it up to 20 or anything like that. Yeah. So
I'm going to choose 180, but it's close. It's very close. I like the usability and simplicity of the amp board.
Simplicity.
Yep.
But so next up then would be the ASA. You know, as much as I have no issue with this whatsoever. I think this is completely fine. I think it sits very flush. It's nice, but very, very just speaking technically, the 180 that pop system is pretty dope. Yeah. It is. I'm gonna have to give the point begrudgingly to the 180 for that one.
Yeah, pops ASA. Just press that to degas, hit it to gas up, and everything else like that. Yeah. I would say that there are more O-rings and stuff here that you like.
There's more to watch, right? More to
with that, you just unscrew that all the way out, and this comes all the way out, and there's just one O-ring there. Whereas, like with this, there's a bunch of different O-rings. So if you ever have to service your ASA, it's actually on the inside here. But
I'm thinking of the XLS having on the outside, right?
But like it's very simple to maintenance that ASA. So there is that. But I'm gonna probably
I'll still give it to the Pops.
Yeah, I'm still giving it to the Pops ASA because like out of the one time you might have to service your ASA in the entire life of your gun, all the times that you're using it for what it's meant to be used for,
right?
I'm picking that, and it's a little bit more streamlined. Like it's contoured to the gun.
It's very nice.
Ergonomics.
For me, it's gonna be the amp. I don't have the biggest hands. It fits, but like I like the skinny foregrip. I don't love a fat foregrip. This is really easy for me to tuck into and get super close with. And this back, like this just fits my hand very well. Like I like that it's cut out for my fingers. It's very this is more of like a true 45 grip for me. And I think this thing just fits my hands stupidly well. So really easy for me to tuck up in and get in there with. Not to say that the 180 feels bad by any means. It does not. But it's just I prefer the smaller feel, the more fine kind of feel of a lot of guns, of the shockers.
The ergonomics on the 180 are definitely improved from the 170. I didn't like the ergonomics 100%. On the 170. I really like the ergonomics of the shocker.
Yeah.
I'm going to choose the 180, and the reason why I say that is because I've noticed when I pull up to shoot a shocker, like aim with a shocker, it's actually too small for me. Whereas like this has a little bit more height to it. So when I pull up to point, it naturally points where I need it to point. Whereas with the shocker, it points a little bit low because of the fact that the gun itself is a little bit lower with my eye line. So that would be my main thing. Two quirks. Quirk on this, super short. I don't like that. My pinky is literally hanging off.
Yeah, is this longer? Like, does your pinky actually fit on this foregrip?
Yes, it does. But my quirk on this is I hate
so narrow.
How small this is.
Yeah.
That's an easy fix though. Exalt actually makes a RSX grip that fits on this that you can put on, and I love it with that.
You had that on your Punisher's amp.
I did. Yep. I did, and I really liked it. Sorry guys, I'm like kind of looking like this. I messed my neck up. But for the strict point of when I'm playing and pointing, I like the 180.
He likes the 180. That's okay.
So
next up,
weight
is going to be weight.
Do we even have to weigh them? Shocker's going to win, but
let's
figure out by how much.
Just to be technical,
we're not even going to turn. We're just going to tell you. So this is with barrel and 9-volt.
Yep, this does have a battery.
I'm curious. 1 pound, 12.2 ounces. That's freaking light.
That's without the... Okay, just put the barrel in there.
1 pound, 14.6 ounces. So 2 ounces lighter. Over 2 ounces lighter with the amp. The amp is extremely light, guys.
Crazy small.
Yeah, it's super light. So definitely going to pick the shocker amp when it comes to weight. It's probably the lightest gun on the market. Maintenance.
They're both stupid simple. In my opinion, like the reg for me is easy. Even getting into the upper reg with the shocker amp, I think it's easy. The bolt, I just did mine yesterday, 2 days ago. Very easy. You could maybe make the argument that it's a little easier for the 180 because of like the toolless eyes and stuff like that, and the lack of wires. But at the same time, how toolless is that to remove the frame from the grip?
2 screws.
2 screws. So we have 1 screw here, so it's a little easier to get into.
That is nice, yeah.
I will make the case that the amp is easier to maintain because it is easier to get the whole thing apart. And as far as getting the two hemispheres together, there are no wires that you can pinch. So that'll be my argument. I'm not sure. What about you?
Well, keep in mind I work on both of these guns a lot.
You do.
Well, not the 180, but the 170. I'm going to pick the 180 for a few different reasons.
Okay.
All the different funky O-rings on this.
That's fair.
Right? Like, there's different OU, OM, OB, and you have to... And, like, for me, being here at the store, it's easy. But, like, for the person that's in at home, they're like, oh, man, I need this O-ring. You're going to have to go to our website and order it and then wait for a few days to do that. The shocker amp regulator is definitely more complicated than this.
Really?
Yeah, because like the way it comes apart and everything else like that, I could show you guys, but hopefully everybody can just trust me. I've serviced both, and the HPR on the 180 is easier. When it comes to actual bolt, like they're very simple. Like I get what you're saying on that, but I like the fact that like the O-rings are standard on this. Like there's no difference in thickness, there's no difference in all that stuff, and the parts kit is going to just tell you, hey, like this is what O-ring you need to put there, and everything else like that. So that's why I'm picking the 180.
Okay. You know what? I'll shift my point to the 180 for that. The big thing for me is the O-rings comment. That is an annoyance that we shouldn't have to deal with at home, but we
standardized O-ring, shocker.
Yes.
But I will say the reason they do that, guys, is because they're very conscientious about their shot. TM40 has a great shot. Shocker amp is one of my favorite shooting guns. It's because of the softness and the hardness of their O-rings and where they're placed that causes some of that. So keep that in mind.
That's smart.
Ergonomics, weight, maintenance, build quality / reliability.
Right now, I'm going to have to get that to the 180.
Same.
I don't personally have issues with my shockers, either one of them. They have both been dreams out of the box, but I know that is, as of recent, not always been the case for everybody who's been ordering amps. So, yeah, I think that just comes down to the factory and just like the QC that they're doing in their process. Because you get one that works, it'll work every time, but we're getting to a point where the ones that work are harder to find. And you don't have that problem really at all with Planet Eclipse.
Working meaning there's been some issues with the boards.
Yep.
There's been some issues with the boards, the upper vision board, the main board, and everything else like that.
Or the O-ring issue from when they first released the amp, where it was affecting the bolt speed too much.
Like, it was, but like, you know, if people are buying a new amp, then they're not. And the other thing too is like, if you're buying a new amp, you're not going to run into the issue with the board because, you know, like it's supported through the factory. So there is that, but out of the box, yeah, 180.
There's a higher likelihood that your 180 is going to work, no issues.
Tech support.
Honestly, they're both
very good.
Because we're lucky enough that Shocker is close enough to our regional events here that they do usually have someone out at every event. Planet Eclipse is great about sending someone to every regional event. I'll have to look into it and see if they do. If Shocker does send somebody out to like WCPPL and NVPS.
I'm almost positive they do.
Yeah,
because I see them post about it. So they do a pretty good job.
I'd say that's a wash.
Of sending to regional events, and they're always at national events. So yes,
1-1.
Yep,
1-1 on that one. Upgradability. I think there's different bolt you can get for the amp, right?
You can get a soft tip bolt for that. This you cannot yet. You can get a different trigger for the 180. You can get a different trigger for the Shocker. You can change the grip on the Shocker. I'm probably going to choose the Shocker because you can change the bolt and you know you can put different grips on it and all that stuff. That stuff is probably coming for the 180R, but this is a new video when this has just been released.
Yep.
The mech frame's not even out for it yet. So for that reason,
did you just leak something? Are they going to make a mech frame for it?
Yeah, they are making a mech frame. Yeah, it's definitely known. Like it's public knowledge that they are making a mech frame. When that comes, who knows?
Yeah.
And that's it, guys. That's it for that portion. So we'll tally it up, and then we're going to go outside and shoot both of these and talk a little bit more about like shock quality, paint handling, efficiency, and all that stuff.
Get you guys a full score, top down.
Yep, and then give you guys our honest opinion on what we think is the winner between the two.
See you at the shop, or no, we'll see you at the house.
All right, Doug, so we have just been in the studio. We were talking about the Shocker amp. We're now got the 180R outside, and we are here to do the shot quality, efficiency, paint handling portion of this video and talk about overall value, right?
Yep.
And talk about, like, you know, if we're gonna spend the money one versus the other, which one are we gonna choose and why?
Yep.
So without further ado, we're shooting GI Sports Field. We've got our mask here, and we are ready to rock with both of these markers. Everything's about as similar as we can get. Chrono both of them at 280. You want to do the honors of shooting them first? All right.
Yes, I do. All right. So I'm going to start off with old tried and true, trusted and faithful here. My loader is on. The marker is on. Let's grab my chrono. This is the Shocker amp here. Shooting some GI Field. 300, 270, 285, 275, 290. I'm gonna call that 280 because I don't feel like doing anything else to it. Here we go. See, for me personally, I do think that's dimes. Very familiar with that shot. Not a whole lot of response, but just enough that you know the marker is operating. It definitely doesn't get in the way of my shot. Now, for the 180R, turn this bad boy on. There we go, it comes to life. Our loader is on, Joel? Nope, it was. Now
there you go.
Cool, so you can already hear that's actually a lot quieter. Let's go with some chrono. 270, 290, 275, 285. Okay, so they're both all over the place. I'm actually gonna, that makes me feel better that they're both kind of doing the same thing. Let's get some shooty going here. Okay.
All right, Doug, pick up the shocker, and we need to do
some Terminator shit.
Yep.
You ready?
Yep.
Wow. Okay, this is hard. You know what? Okay, I have an interesting shot to say, but I'll shoot more first. Wow.
All right, so I've got the 180 here. And then the shocker amp. $180. Shocker amp. All right. So, let's talk about it.
Let's get some thoughts going here.
All right, Doug, so what was your thoughts between the two?
That was really, really, really hard. So once you get them both rolling, they feel very similar. The difference is when you have that first shot and you start to get them ramping, when you can really feel the difference, when it's all like the full, I guess, like extent of the recoil just with one shot.
You're saying that the shocker amp, because I feel that this was not as, that first shot didn't feel as bad with the 180 as compared, but to your point, when they're in full ramp, they're really close.
Yeah. I think the shocker is a little softer on the first shot, but once we get to ramping, it's a little easier to predict the 180.
Oh, really?
A little
so you
bit.
Actually feel the opposite.
They're both. For me, the biggest difference is how they feel in the hand. The shot itself, dude, is like.
Yeah. So shot quality wise, they're very similar between the two. I think, you know, as far as how they feel when they're shooting, to your point, they're very, very similar to each other. So what I'm gonna say is I'm gonna pick the 180, and the reason I'm picking the 180 is because the 180 is quieter.
Yes, it is.
But the amp definitely shoots really, really well. It's one of my favorite shooters of all time.
We've you guys know we've run multiple shockers. Like we love them, we really do.
But you know,
I have to give credit where it's due to the one. That's a really like.
If you had to pick one or the other on shot quality. I'm stuck thinking for 10 seconds on camera.
I'm so sorry. Like,
just one or the other.
It's a wash, bro. No, I can't.
Wash.
I literally can't. I'm washing that.
So then, efficiency-wise, this got 1,600 shots. Shocker amp, I think, actually does better than 1,600 shots on a 77.
It's been so long since I've done one, or like shot a full tank. Like,
yeah, we do have an efficiency test out there, and I believe that
it's on a 68.
I believe it's on a 68. We got it was like 10 or 11 pods, and that was when the shocker first came out.
And that was winter.
Yeah, so I'm actually going to give the efficiency probably to the shocker on that portion of that. And then paint handling, I'm giving to the 180.
I would, yeah.
I've seen
it's got that soft tip bolt.
We have done brittle paint tests with this and everything else like that, and the shocker can handle brittle paint just fine. But if we're talking about like the finite differences, I'd say the 180, like what I was able to do with the 180 last week was very impressive. I was able to shoot 5-star. I was breaking from waist height 5 out of 5 times, and I shot at uncapped ramp, and it didn't break any paint. 2 hoppers through it, ice cold paint, did great. I shocker ramp.
I think the 180 is better equipped for that with the soft tip bolt. It's got more of like just like the OP core thing. I just like it's.
So would you agree with me paint handling wise on the 180?
I think I would.
Okay, and then lastly, let's talk about value between the two. So $1,100, brand new gun just released. Shocker amp right now. We're in the month of April, but it only for a few more months here. But this month to the end of this month, they're on sale for $750. They're usually they're usually $900. So this is kind of difficult because right now they're actually $150 cheaper than they usually are.
Even then, we can go on stock prices. It is $200.
So $900 and $1,100
versus $1,100. Value? Well, let's think. The packaging for this thing is insane.
Packaging's better for sure.
It's almost a wash as far as barrels, but you will get more sizes with the Freak system. So I will say that. Bolt wise and shot wise, it's so close for me. Ergonomic wise, this is massively improved, but I do like how I prefer a slimmer foregrip. The rear grip though is, like I said, massively improved. Dude, I don't know, because you got efficiency. Ergonomics are very, very preference based, but still good. They're relatively similar other than the foregrip. The shot is so close. Saving $200? I might, but
saving $200 or $350
or $350, right? But the thing is out of the box right now, Planet Eclipse is really taking the game on not having any issues from factory, and they have a way better well, actually no, because Shocker is at pretty much all of our regional events too.
They are.
Man, value wise, I want to for a difference of $200 to $350, I have to go amp for value, but that's splitting hairs, guys. That's by the skin of the teeth, like.
If they are equally priced, which one would you pick?
If they were equally priced, I would have to go with the reliability of the 180 for the value.
Okay.
Yep.
Overall value-wise, I'm picking the Shocker amp on this, whether it's the $900 price point or the $750 price point, because of you do get some premium features with the 170. Something else that you didn't mention was toolless eye covers, toolless battery. You know, we talked about that already in the studio. But with that said, you're saving $200, $300, whatever the case may be. You know, the question is whether or not that's worth it. Actually, I lied. Value-wise, screw it. I'm picking the 180.
Yeah?
I changed my mind because now I'm saying all this stuff and I'm realizing.
I was going to say, you're kind of contradicting yourself.
Well, yeah,
So
right.
really, so look at that. You're getting features that normally come on a gun that is now $1,750, right? The CS3, you got the toolless eye covers and all that.
Yeah.
Nearly toolless grips, not entirely, but they lost a screw. I kind of, and also toolless battery over this, which you still have to mess with 3 screws.
Yeah, I think Shocker needs to get with the times and release something that, you know, a
mid-price range gun with toolless battery.
Right.
So
with that said, you know, if it's only $200 difference, the barrel's similar. Ergonomics is a question mark. I actually probably prefer the Shocker a little bit more.
Yeah.
In shot quality wise, they're very close to each other. Efficiency wise, they're better, but I think the 180 handles paint better. But the features and the packaging and the reliability of Planet Eclipse is going to make me choose the 180.
Yeah,
and it's going to make me spend that extra money.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's the 200 or the 350,
right.
Because I know I'm going to buy this 180. I'm not going to have any issues with it. We've had a couple of issues with some of the Shockers with their boards.
Yep.
It's not like a huge issue, but
it's consistent currently and ongoing enough. I can admit that. So that needs to be handled in order to restore the reliability.
So yeah, I'm going to pick the 180.
I would as well. Well, guys, listen, I'll give you the totals up here. This is going to be another tight one for me. This is really good. I'm pretty sure these scores are going to be pretty tight. But we really appreciate you guys stopping by and watching. Hope you like this video. If you do want to pick up either one of these from Punishers, make sure you use the link in the description here, and we'll catch you guys in the next comparison.
See you guys soon.
I'm so free.